In this part, we use concepts of complexity theory to better understand complex projects. Complexity theory was developed from the observation of emergent nonlinear behavior that is apparent in natural systems, such as in biology, geology, or meteorology. Complex projects, in reality, are what we call complex adaptive systems. That is, depending on a specific context situation, projects need to be organized in one way or in another way. There is no universal model to manage complex projects. This means that different projects that evolve in different contexts, they need different methods to be developed. So we need to recognize that there are different types of complexity. The key features of complex projects mentioned before can be grouped or categorized into four groups: structural complexity, technical complexity, directional complexity, and temporal complexity. Structural complexity is found in large projects. It stems from the difficulty to manage large number of parts or units with high number of interconnections. The underlying assumption in structural complexity is that individual units will fit together to make the required final product. However, it is the role of the project manager to fit together all those different parts. Then, the main challenges for the project manager are to manage the interdependencies between different sub-projects, to manage the different subcontractors, and to manage different stakeholders. This slide details the concept of structural complexity. Please read it in your own time. Technical complexity is associated to the use of new technology that has not been tried before. It stems from the many interconnections between multiple interdependent solutions or options. In other words, there are too many ways to achieve the same goal. The main challenges are managing the design phase, where the main interdependencies and the product architecture are created. The issue is that if you are contracted as a project manager after the design phase, if this is the case, you will need to deliver solutions to ill-defined technical problems. And there's nothing you can do because somebody else has already defined those interdependencies when they defined the architecture of the product. Another challenge that you will need to face is to manage the expectations of key stakeholders regarding what the technology can do. This slide further explains the idea of technical complexity. Please read it in your own time. Directional complexity is found in projects with unset goals, that is, projects with unclear outcomes and projects with hidden agendas. This means that usually in these projects, power and politics are at play. Directional complexity stems from the ambiguity related to multiple interpretations of the outcome of the project. Directional complexity also stems from the different interests, goals of different stakeholders. In simple words, different stakeholders want different things. So the challenge of directional complexities are to manage organizational politics and to manage the relationships between different stakeholders. That is why one of the modules in this course is all about managing power and politics in projects. This slide is about directional complexity. Please read it on your own time. Temporal complexity involves projects in which environments shift, in which there are significant changes in the strategic direction of the project, or projects in which government regulations affect the project in significant extent. In other words, temporal complexity is related to changes in the project that are generated by external forces. It stems from the uncertainty regarding future constraints of the project, and also it stems from the expectations that future conditions in the project will change. And as we know that complex projects are usually long-term projects, they are subject to changes in the external environments or in new regulations. So long complex projects are usually associated with temporal complexity. This slide is about temporal complexity. Please read it on your own time. In conclusion, there are 2 points that we need to consider. First, there are 4 types of complexity that can be associated to projects. And second, and most importantly, complex projects can exhibit a combination of one or more types of complexity. Now, the best way to learn these concepts is by applying and using it. That is why we will develop the bridge building case. The bridge building case. So now all students, face to face and online, need to read the bridge building case that it is available in Learning and Griffith. Face-to-face students will have the opportunity to develop and discuss this case during our workshop. Online students must attempt to develop this case study and will have the opportunity to discuss it during our collaborate sessions.